One. Hello, you guys, and welcome to the Woman's Cave. Yes, that is spelled WOMENS apostrophe. And yeah, that's bad English, especially for a writer. That's the kind of writer I am. Sorry, y'all. Anyway, the other ones are trademarked, so I'm making sure everyone knows I'm not stepping on anyone's trademark. Just so you know. Also, I'm Wilnona, and I remember to introduce myself. Without Jade being here, I'm kind of surprised. Like, that's semi-professional. I almost want to give myself a high five. Moving on, because, narcissism doesn't look cute on screen, especially when I look like this. So just in case you guys didn't know, I'm not in my studio. I'm helping a friend move, and this is me with only lipstick. No facials, no nothing, just lipstick. Yeah. You can do the frowny face now. It's okay. Anyway, moving on. We wrote books. I'm one of the End I Thought ladies, and we have 13 books, one of them being the End I Thought series. End I Thought Divorce Was Bad with Other Life Lessons is now an audiobook, so please check that out on Audible as well. And End I Thought Being Grown Up Is Easy is going to be such a cool audiobook. Like, I know Jade says it every time. We hear Joe Sands read our words and go, we wrote that? Really? That was us. Oh, maybe I do have a career. And then you read it and you go, no, I don't. No, Joe did a great job. So if I were you, I'd wait. I'd wait and get the audiobook. I mean, you could get the book. That'd be nice. But then we have, and I Thought I Did My Journey Alone. He Was the One. I Could Juggle It All. There's a bunch of other ones. Look them up on Amazon. And then we have the Misfit Guides. Sassy Sway, The Lee's Crooked Footprints, and the Cocktail Soirees in the LBD. You guys, guess what? We have 2 new books we just finished yesterday. Yeah, that was a rush. And we have the magazine, The 25 Hottest Authors, Artists, and Advocates coming up. I'll talk about the rest of the stuff like charities at the end of this, because I'm sure you're tired of hearing my rambling voice and my red lips in the middle of nothing else being made up. Yeah. It's like just lips at this point and some cute teeth. You're not here to hear anything else about me. You're here to hear from our wonderful guests. Wonderful guests, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Ariele Seiling. I'm a science fiction writer, and I'm the vice president of the board of Yellow Arrow Publishing, which is a small press nonprofit based in Baltimore. And I have a dog.
That was quick. I mean, like, I want you to be a contributor for our magazines now, because, like, none of our other contributors know how to do that. 3 sentences, and I've introduced myself. Everyone else is like 3 definitely run-on sentences that look like 7, and then 1 extra one, just in case. Anyway.
I have a lot of practice, so.
Oh, they tell me once you get to, like, year 5, you're good to go. You know how to do it quickly. So what is it like being a science fiction author and as a female?
That's a very interesting question. So I think that sci-fi gets a bad rap sometimes, for gender disparity, and while there's certainly a male-dominated industry, there's certain advantages to being a writer, mostly in that you get to sit at home alone the whole time, and you can control your environment, and you can control who you actually talk to and who you interact with. I've definitely had some weird interactions with people. I do a lot of Comic-Cons as part of my marketing, so there's definitely been some interesting interactions being a woman at Comic-Con. But in general, where my actual writing is concerned, I've never been a man, so I can't speak to the differences between the experiences. But it's definitely interesting. Do you want some of the stories? I can give you a couple one-off stories about Comic-Con as a woman.
Sure. I am always up for gossip.
All right, let's see. Most recent sort of horrifying experience I had was I was at a Comic-Con, and some guy walked by me and grabbed my butt, just completely out of the blue. I was horrified and a little bit traumatized for the rest of the day.
But if you look at it in a positive light, obviously it wasn't old, saggy, and wrinkly, because you don't tend to grab that.
That's true. But if they could just learn to keep their hands to
Yes.
themselves, that would be great.
Yeah.
Um, I also, I had a guy, this was super weird. I had a guy come up to my table and look at my book. So I have 3 series. And one of the series has 2 books with male protagonists in it, and the rest of the series has female protagonists. He picked up one of the 2 books with a male protagonist, read the back, looked at me, and said, "I'm sorry, I don't read books with male protagonists. I only read books with female protagonists." And it was very weird because I was like, on one hand, I get that you're trying to like support books that have like female characters in them, but at the same time, you're talking to a real life female human being and actually saying to me, I'm not going to support your work, even though you're a real life woman, because you have a male main character. Like, so weird and confusing. So I've
Yeah.
definitely had some interesting experiences.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. Oh, well, we've never done Comic-Con, so we've never had these experiences. So thank you for sharing. I feel like I've gone already.
But most people are really nice. I should say that. Most people are super supportive and very encouraging and really nice. And I get lots of sales at Comic-Con. So I don't want the whole experience to sound terrible.
No, it doesn't sound terrible. There's quite a few authors that we know that go to Comic-Cons and they have a lovely, lovely time. And then I was like, they're like, why don't you come? And I was like, because my life is weird and weird happens. So wherever we are, weird happens. So I feel like you don't bring weird to a Comic-Con. You just don't.
Comic-Con is already weird, so it
Yeah,
might fit
pretty
in
much.
perfectly.
So how do you do world building? What are your secret tips? Because I mean, for sci-fi, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things, actually, is world building. Also, it's one of the reasons I write series, because once you build a world, it's so much work to create another one. You want to like maximize the one that you've already created. So I have a bunch of strategies I use. I think my biggest one is actually I have binders, like 3-ring binders, and I all of my notes, I do lots of sketching. I'll go in my binders. So each of my different worlds has a binder, and it makes it easy for me to sort of keep track of everything. I do a lot of reading. So, for example, one of my series is monsters in an apocalypse. So I have to like invent all of these different monsters. So I follow like deep sea fishermen on Instagram and look at like all the weird stuff they're pulling up out of the ocean. Or I'll go and read like articles about biology and some of like the strange things that actually exist in the real world. And that definitely informs, the world that I'm creating. Anything I read or think about or see could potentially end up in any of my world building scenarios. So nothing is off limits.
So it's a warning, you guys. If you meet her, then there's a possibility that you're in the book. I mean, it's a good thing. Try to be memorable, and you'll probably make it. Hopefully, in a good way. Don't be memorable like the guy at Comic-Con that just wanted to reach out and grab a handful, because I'm sure he's making it, but it's not good. It's not good at all. That was another question. Oh, yes. So my other question is, so how do you do the balance between art and being on like the executive board? So you have to do both sides of the creative world. A lot of people say it's hard to do one. It's worse to do two. So I don't know. Can you explain how that works out? Does it work well for you?
Yeah, actually, being on the board of Yellow Arrow affords me a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't get if I wasn't on the board. I'm a full-time writer, so it's a little bit easier. I'm not juggling like a full-time job and writing and being on the board. I'm just juggling full-time writing and part-time being on the board. One of my skill sets, or one of the things I think I'm good at, is problem solving and figuring out how to do things, which is really helpful when you're writing and you're trying to like come up with a plot, and you're trying to tie everything together. But it's also really helpful for things like working on a nonprofit because it means that you can, sort of bring that skill in, and it's like, okay, we need money. How do we find money?
Yeah.
And so I can apply my problem solving skills to both my artistic life and then also, being on the board. In terms of balancing the two, I'm really bad at it. And I go through phases where like all I'm doing is working for Yellow Arrow. That's like right now. I've like hardly written at all this year because I'm so focused on some of the new projects we're doing. And then I go through other times where the organization doesn't hear from me because I'm like totally focused in on my work, but I'm working on it.
I mean, who has time for balance when there's like binging and purging?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I did that wrong. I said that so wrong.
I know what you meant.
I'm sorry. I think I'm thinking more about practical and moving boxes right now. So like in my head, I'm like, did we finish that bin? I hope so, because I don't want to move anything else.
There's kind of a culture right now too where people are like, you got to go all in. You got to do all of, you've got like these like crazy diets that are like, you got to clean out your system, and you've got the whole like Marie Kondo thing. You got to clean out your house, and everyone's like, got to go all in. So,
So we're a cyclical society right now. Yeah. All in and done, and then move on to the next thing. Anyway, right. I'm sorry. I think we got off topic a little bit, right? I know I did.
We were talking about balance.
Yeah, I'm a little off balance. Go figure. with my interview today. Anyway, I'm trying to remember that last question. Oh, you said projects. You have projects coming up. Are there any that you're allowed to talk about for Yellow Arrow?
Yes, I could talk about all of our projects, and in fact, I am thrilled to talk about all of our projects.
Yay!
So we just launched our newest initiative, which I'm super excited about. It's called the Yellow Arrow House, and it's a writing center based in Baltimore, basically. We rented a space. We're going to be running workshops and having readings and doing all kinds of things. And we are obviously always looking for people. So if anybody's watching this and you want to teach workshops, or you want to attend workshops, or you want to donate money or whatever, definitely go to our website and check out all the stuff that we're doing. That's our like big thing. But as part of that, we're launching a whole new workshop series. So we're going to have workshops on writing books and on publishing and all kinds of things. So super excited about all of that. And then the other one is, if you're based in the Baltimore area, we just launched our newest writer in residence program. So if anybody's interested in being a writer in residence in Baltimore, you should check that out too.
Must I live in Baltimore?
I mean, you have to be able to get to Baltimore on a regular basis for a period of a few months, but I don't think there's any requirements. Like, you don't have to live in the city proper.
Ah, okay. Well, that sounds interesting now.
Yeah, you should definitely check it out.
I mean, Baltimore's an awesome city, but I like to visit. I don't think I want to like stay.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is.
It has its pros and cons.
You guys have some really cool food.
Yeah, that's true.
When I go places, I think about food. It's like there's the writing scene, there's the food, and there's the bourbon scene, and those are my scenes. And they kind of fuel each other. It works out really nice.
Yeah.
So if you were looking to possibly get something published with Yellow Arrow, where would you find the submissions, information, and do you know the theme for next season?
I don't know the theme. I think we're voting on it next month. Ooh. So I think submissions open pretty soon. They open in like March maybe. So we should be announcing the theme soon. If you're interested in submitting, we're open now. So we do the biannual journal. And then we're also now open for full-length manuscripts of creative nonfiction and chapbooks as well. So there's a page on our website called Submissions. I think it's just yellowarrow.publishing.com/submissions, but it's in the main navigation. And all of the requirements are there. And we publish works by women and women identifying writers specifically.
Nice. Thank you so much. Now let's talk about you.
Sure.
And the books. So how did you start writing?
Well, I've been writing like most writers since I was a kid, but I didn't take it seriously until after I graduated from college. A friend of mine challenged me to National Novel Writing Month, and I lost because everybody pretty much loses National Novel Writing Month the first time you try it. But I wrote 20,000 words, and I was like, whoa. It never occurred to me I could do that. So then I did it again the next year, wrote a full-length manuscript. And then I joined a writer's group in my area. I lived in New Hampshire at the time, and they all were indie published. And I always hated the traditional publishing industry, which is why I never took it seriously as like an option. And they were like, well, you don't have to do that. You could do it this way. And then I was like sold. And so I've been basically producing manuscripts ever since. So
That is amazing. Like, I have never met someone that says, well, I wanted to like be indie. That's so cool. Everyone goes, I want it traditional, but stuff happens. I couldn't get it. This is awesome. Like,
yeah.
You make me feel so proud.
Yeah, I just never liked the traditional industry. There's all these contracts, the author's at the bottom of the food chain. You don't really have any control over your work or the production of your work. And when I learned that I could just manage the whole process and be my own person, I mean, there was pretty much no downside to that for me.
I so agree. Although some days I swear I'm like, if I could sign a contract, I might give up every right I have because I don't feel like doing one more thing.
If someone else could do all the work, yes. But if someone else does all the work, they get to keep all the money too. So
and that's always my problem. So now we hire people. Anyway, it solves that problem so well.
Does. It helps a lot.
That's probably why Yellow Arrow did that, Let's hire people. Let's not do it all ourselves. Okay, so you didn't tell us the title of your books.
Okay. I have 3 series. So the oldest series is called the Sagitan Chronicles. The Wounded World is the first one in the series. That one's not as good, so don't start there. My next series is called Land of Szornyek, which is spelled Szornyek. It's Hungarian for monsters. The first book is called Tentacles and Teeth, and that one is quite good, so you should definitely start there. My third series is called Rove City, and it's actually it's my most recent one. I released the first one in November. It's fairy tale retelling set on a spaceship. So, yeah, it's fun.
When will that be an audiobook?
Well, I'm working on Land of Szornyek right now, so I have to get through those, and then audiobooks are so expensive to produce, so I would do everything all at once if I had the money, but I have to do them one at a time. So
yeah,
next year maybe. Hopefully.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna listen to that one.
Cross my fingers. And I actually have a kids book series too. It's called Rutherford the Unicorn Sheep, but I'm sort of moving away from the kids books and focusing entirely on the sci-fi.
Why? None of my business. Don't answer that. I mean, unless you think the audience wants to know, then go ahead.
I mean, you asked the question, so I'm sure they want to know now. I just don't like doing kids books as much. They're pretty easy and they're fun, but I just really love writing sci-fi. So I decided I should focus my energy where I want to focus my energy.
And how long did it take you to become a full-time writer?
I published my first book in 2013. I quit my job and started 50-50, like writing and freelance in 2015. And then I just went full-time this year.
Nice!
So, 2019. So 6 years, I guess, technically. So nice. I will say I'm in a fortunate situation in that I have a very supportive husband. And my going full-time corresponded with him getting a promotion at work. So it's, you got to do what you got to do to make ends meet for a while. So it's not magic, and I'm not making millions on my work or anything like that.
Oh, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Ariel, for stopping by. Can you please tell everyone where they can find out more information about buying your books? And you already gave a shout out to Yellow Arrow, but if you want to do it again and tell them where they can submit and read more, you can tell them about that as well.
Absolutely. Well, if you're interested in me, you go just Google my name. I'm everywhere. I'm on all of the social media. It's spelled ArieleSeiling.com. And on all of the, I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all of the things. And then my books are on Amazon primarily, and then some of them are on Barnes and Noble and Kobo and all those other places. If you're interested in Yellow Arrow, we're very active on Facebook and Instagram. And then we have, of course, our website, yellowarrowpublishing.com.
Nice. Thank you so much, Ariel, for stopping by. So I'm going to wrap us up, and that's normally Jade's job, so don't be upset if I mess it up. Okay, so I'm Wilnona, one of the And I Thought ladies, and we have a few things going on. So I'm not doing this right at all. Not at all. So we have one thing going on called the Inspiration Women in Literature, Media, and Journalism Awards. You guys, please get tickets to that. That's on March 21st, 2020. It's weird to say 2020. So very weird. But that's okay. And those, if you buy a ticket, that goes towards the 3 charities that we are supporting this year. And then when you go to www.andwethought.com and find out what we're up to, hopefully one of those things will be like visiting the Yellow Arrow House, because I cannot wait to see it. And I missed the grand opening. So I have to go at some point. So if you guys hang out and go see andwethought at andwethought.com, you can watch us do that. That'll be fun. Probably more fun for me. But anyway, if you go to the second tab, Other Ladies page, in the middle of the page, there's a list of the charities that we proudly support. So please click on them and give to them, like money, time, information. Turns out when we do our advocate roundtable that they need a lot of information. I would think money, but it was literally information and volunteers. So these things are free. Please try to do that. We also have our book drive that ends on March 1st. We're collecting books for the foster children, author signed books for the foster children. So if you guys can email us about that. Everything, and I said it again, but I'm going to say it one more time. You can watch everything that we're doing at andwethought.com. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. And I apologize for going through this entire roundup like I am a stewardess on a plane. So peace and love, you guys, from Wilnona and the Missing Jade. Bye-bye.